Hello everyone. It's recently been brought to my attention that a fellow academic and YouTube content creator by the name of Academic Agent has recently rewrote my conservative manifesto. And according to Mr. Agent, my version was, in his words, well, a load of rambling, incoherent word salad. Well, Mr. Academic Agent. If that is your real name, let's see what you've managed to achieve. So, what I've decided to do here is to read Mr. Agent's revised, shortened version. And you can judge for yourself and tell me in the comment section whether or not you prefer my original writings or Mr. Agent's. So, let's begin. A profound crisis of meaning currently afflicts, destabilizes, and demoralizes the sovereign citizens of the West and the social institutions upon which we depend. The crisis has spread. It has generated confusion, sown distrust, and produced discord. Careless intellectuals have cast doubt on the principles that have until now guided and stabilized the West. This has produced a profound crisis of meaning. Like, we have forgotten why those principles existed in the first place. This is because people now believe that the will to power, the willingness to dominate and exploit, motivates perceptions and actions and gives rise to and maintains all social institutions. The result is frustration and resentment. When the crisis of meaning preys on this to demonize, divide, and exploit, it insists upon its own certainty. It demands recognition of its own moral virtue, which is unearned. The crisis of meaning creates petty and terrible battles across the lines of identity, gender, and race. These battles lead us astray. They undermine the spirit of our sons and daughters, substituting trust with apocalyptic doomsaying, which renders them feeling hopeless. They subjugate education to ideology. They escalate cycles of accusation, and they stoke suspicion. And what can those who hold traditional values offer in such times? They can offer an alternative to the cynical and bitter view that our social and political institutions are unreliable, corrupt, and untrustworthy. They can offer an alternative to the joyless and sterile drive to forbid and damn others. Traditional values can offer eternal principles to those who are currently starved of them. But are these traditional values? An exhaustive list might include humility, liberty, autonomy, truth, agency, identity, merit, responsibility, tradition, community, stewardship, justice, and unity. We might add the real causes of poverty, the inevitability of economic inequality, and the fact that our society depends on people with competence. Humility is the opposite of pride, arrogance, and hubris. To revere humility is to accept that there are things we do not know, to value and attempt to understand the opinions of others, no matter how ill-informed, to strive to gain further knowledge and to convince and invite instead of insisting and compelling. Humility is therefore a precondition of learning. Learning produces meaningful engagement and maintains knowledge. But liberty does not mean hedonism. Liberty is valuable because it allows people the opportunity to best confront the potential of the future, to engage in the voluntary, productive, reciprocal interactions that make peaceful, mutually sustaining social life possible, to speak the truth and to adopt the responsibility of citizenship. An ethical endeavor, liberty enables people to think authentically and without arbitrary constraints privately and publicly. Liberty allows people to imagine a diverse set of possibilities to assess, criticize, prioritize, and improve them. And it allows you to choose the path forward. Problems require solutions. The best solutions come from a wide range of productive activities and enterprises, known as the division of labor. People with different temperaments, experiences, and skills can help solve problems. With autonomy, they should be free to provide solutions to the problems of their local environments. This gives rise to the division of labor, which produces resilient, large-scale unified systems that can respond to new problems rapidly. Autonomy, therefore, provides us with the necessities and luxuries of life. Free markets do this best because they facilitate the division of labor. Those who hold the traditional values of the West should defend free markets. No other systems can respond as rapidly to the changing needs and tastes of individuals. The future differs from the past. In consequence, a continual array of complex and unforeseen problems array themselves before us, demanding new solutions. Such solutions require free thought. Solutions benefit from considering a variety of perspectives. Diverse citizens must be unified by striving in a single direction towards a common end. Truth itself is never to be found in a particular set of facts or body of knowledge. The genuine striving forward towards the common end instead is the very embodiment of truth. The willingness to reach in good faith across the divides of race, sex, economic class, and political temperament is instead the very embodiment of truth. But the divisive insistence on the absolute relativity of truth can be combated not least with the realization that truth is a process and not a state. The pursuit of truth offers the antidote to the corrosive nihilism that justifies deception, hopelessness, cynicism, and abdication of responsibility. Leftists conceptualize people according to groups, such as sexuality, race, gender, and political belief. As conservatives, we can counter this by reinforcing the idea that individuals can overcome uncertainty and adversity. We admire the ambition to overcome poverty, the spirit of venture, the willingness to shoulder responsibility, and the desire to get married and form a family. Any stable society is built on these foundations. A person's identity cannot be defined by their feelings. Identity is instead the result of continual and iterated communication, cooperation, and competition between parents and children, husbands and wives, friends, colleagues, subordinate, superiors, and the present and future selves of sovereign individuals. Identity is therefore and must remain a carefully and justly negotiated agreement between the individual and society at every level of that society. Conservatives can therefore offer a revitalized conception of sovereign citizenship as the most meaningful and significant form of identity. The sovereign citizenship that makes each person a credit to themselves, a reliable partner in marriage, a caring, judicious, and discriminating parent, a worthy and competent partner in enterprise, an active participant in local and distal civic institutions, and an informed, enlightened, and ethical political actor and voter. To achieve this, Western individuals need to focus on their own mature sacrifices, duties, responsibilities, and reciprocal relationships, and look less towards the discourses of endless rights and privileges that have dominated recently. Individuals vary widely in their abilities across the entire range of human endeavor. A small number of highly productive people operating within all domains of human creative endeavor account for most of the production and progress. Therefore, society should reconsider and promote excellence and mitigate poverty to generate and disseminate creative solutions to new and unexpected problems, provide opportunity for individuals and social flourishing and advancement, and justly and effectively reward those endeavoring to be productive, successful, and generous. Merit can be defined as the ability to achieve outcomes desired by society. Therefore, individuals should be appointed to jobs based on merit. Every individual requires a purpose to offset the tragedy of life. Every person needs something of true value to set against the anxiety, frustration, disappointment, grief, and pain of moral existence. Many people become cynical when the idealism of their youth is checked by reality. Others turn to hedonism, but neither cynicism nor hedonism is the answer. Instead, we need stable, reliable, truthful, and productive intimate relationships, friendships, apprenticeships, civic bonds, political deities, philosophical commitments, and religious habits and practices. In the absence of the structure and direction produced by such bonds and activities, the tragedy of life looms unacceptably large. Individuals subjected to suffering in the absence of an orientation towards meaning and responsibility become cynical, unstable, hopeless, and alienated, then resentful, vengeful, and dangerous. Conservatives can offer personal responsibility, the committed social bonds of marriage, family, and jobs, and true civic engagement as valid and reliable antidotes to the nihilism of unearned cynicism. Their temptation of narrow, short-term pleasure and the demoralizing consequences of their faithless hopelessness. Such advocates can remind us that sacrifice, the willingness to forestall the gratifications of the immediate moment, the willingness to engage in difficult endeavors in the present, to build something worthwhile for the future, the moral obligation to withstand the trials of immediate, timely disagreement and conflict, to ensure a lasting peace is the laudable, necessary, and ultimately a redeeming activity. Such advocates can finally define a pathway through the pitfalls of guilt, offering atonement through responsibility as the proper response to the inevitably unequal distribution of talents and privileges. The West has rightly emphasized the value of the individual, drawing on traditions derived from Rome, Athens, and Jerusalem. The West is prosperous because of liberalism grounded on individual rights and natural law, which has afforded unparalleled freedom, productivity, and universal values. But the highest ideal to which an individual might aspire. Cannot be grounded in an atomistic individualism or predicated on the assumption that the highest manifestation of human striving be akin to an isolated self-actualization. Conservatives can rightly insist the highest must serve the lowest communally in the truly religious sense. Can rightly observe that we find our very sanity in relationship to community. Conservatives can note that sanity itself, both personal and social, must be negotiated. That individuals cannot be happy in isolation. A purely individual ethos is shallow, unsustainable, unworthy, and fragile. What do we do when our happiness vanishes? For hope, humility, temperance, and love, you need faith and other people. Conservatives can maintain harmony between humanity and the natural world, which our lives depend on through stewardship. People have done this for many generations. Human activity now spans the entire globe. This presents us with real dangers as well as unparalleled opportunities. And we must not overreact to these challenges by panicking or doomsaying, since this can demoralize us while also causing us to make impulsive decisions which may have many unforeseen bad consequences. Instead, we should have faith that we can overcome the challenge ahead through our own ingenuity, as we always have done throughout history. Young people should be taught this. Every individual who achieves something beneficial to society should be rewarded for their efforts. This is a just recognition of their productivity. This is how we separate the wheat from the chaff, universal compassion. Without this justice, becomes too incautious, too forgiving, and infantilizing, and risks being mistaken as a moral virtue in itself. Conservatives can rightly insist it is this true and comprehensive justice, grounded in the irreplaceable traditions of our forebears, that has been and must continue to be both available to and applied equally to all citizens regardless of birth or circumstances. Conservatives must state with courageous faith and confidence the fundamental institutions of the West are solid, both philosophically and practically. These institutions rest on 7 fundamental assumptions. Number 1, equality under the rule of law. Number 2, the idea that every life is sacred. Number 3, the judgment of the sovereign citizen. Number 4, good solutions come from honest debate between sovereign citizens, which are then reflected by and legislated by representatives in a parliamentary democracy. Number 5, marriage provides the basis for stable 2-parent families in which children can flourish. Number 6, free markets produce the best material outcomes for the poor and best mitigate against inequality. Number 7, we should be grateful for inheriting the Abrahamic tradition. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Respect for individual sovereignty, appreciation for the intact family, responsible engagement in civic institutions, gratitude for the traditions that bind us and protect us from chaos, and courageous trust in the essential goodwill of others means unity in both appearance and reality. At their best, conservatives appreciate this. Such unity keeps uncertainty at bay and provides social and psychological stability, which can foster a shared common purpose and provide hope for individuals. Those who believe unity is impossible doom us to social catastrophe. Conclusion: the belief that nothing but power rules us annihilates everything of real value and leads us to demoralization. Restoring the principles I've outlined would serve as an antidote to this. Remember to hit the like button, comment, and smack that bell before you leave. If you don't, then you ain't right. Now it's time to leave. So get out,